punch him, I think.
Oh, it's the same height. Don't like this.
You ever wondered why the police are so disliked today? Why they do such horrendous and violent and just straight out racist events? You ever stop to think that maybe it's not just because we have a couple bad cops that got on social media, but because how we run our police system? Now, don't get me wrong, there's no excuse for some of the stuff that has happened, and we can never pay back those tragedies we've done to some of the families out there. But what I think comes down to one big main issue boils down to is that the government has created an us versus them mentality. Sort of a wall, if you will. A kind of we are better than the rest of the public, that we are more than the rest of the public. To fully explain this, I will have to show you what them versus us mentality is. Then I'll have to give examples of why this actually happened, why this wall has been created. And then I will explain how the government can take steps to try and stride towards bettering this and dismembering this wall. So what is an us versus them mentality? It is creating a boundary between you and the other people. It's putting yourself on a pedestal almost, making you over, better than everybody else. Since the beginning of man, there have always been groups, cliques, gangs, religion, creating an in-group and an out-group. And by definition, have an in-group, you must have an out-group. And this has always led to nothing but violence and just overall disaster. This is just a breeding ground for conflict, that an us versus them mentality, having so many enemies for no reason, just is bound for an imminent and complete destruction. And if in a society that there is always an us versus them mentality, there can never be truly peace. There will always be some kind of tension, some kind of violence, some kind of action taken. Now, how did this start? This started back with Prohibition. They needed to. It was a given back then. With organized crime, the police were out-weaponed, outmanned, outsmarted. So they took over a military approach, became most advanced weapons, leadership, and just became ran like military so they could take down organized crime. And it worked. But now those stereotypes and reinforcements have bled into a society where we are so close that we don't need stereotypes and reinforcements anymore. For example, black people are arrested astoundingly more than white people. Is it because black people do more crime and do more drugs? No, it is because how our officers are trained. They are trained to go after black people, that black society. For example, it is trained that if you drive a nice car with big rims, play loud music, and you're a black young man in it, you're a drug dealer. There's no other excuse for it, so you're going to get pulled over. If you're a Mexican driving a truck, you're going to get pulled over because you're illegal. This is trained, and this is not acceptable. According to Allen and Gibbs, the police practice and research background check, all of our backgrounds have dwindled because of the mass population increase, that they just did not have the manpower to give the background checks that are necessary to get full cops. People with so much power and patience, they just kind of blew it over and put them in their power just because they didn't have the time or money. That explains where this wall started from, and now we need to know why, how we can take steps towards this. First thing, we need to get rid of these quotas. Quotas don't do any good. They're just trying to make money. Police are out there to try and serve and protect the community. If police were more worried about trying to stop the bad guy, try and help the community make it stronger instead of being overpoweredly bullied hall monitors of the road, then they would actually get stuff done. And people would not fear a cop every time they got behind the rearview mirror. They would actually go towards cops, seek help, and be better in the community. Overall community would increase. Second, the cops need to go back to actually knowing their community. Nowadays, they just drive in a car. They don't know their community at all. They need to either do mandatory volunteer work, get to know their community, do some kind of walk the beat, stop, actually talk to people, get to know who they're protecting, who they're serving. The more they know the community, the more they know them, the more interaction, cooperation the entire public will have with the police. A third thing, well, it's more the second, but we still need to get rid of the tint on the windows. The windows are so dark in cop cars, we have no idea who's driving them, literally making that wall of we're in here, we're better than you. And third, there has to be a massive retraining, like I stated earlier. They're trained to be suspicious of anybody minority, anybody of a certain culture, and that's just not acceptable nowadays. Studies show that white people smoke just as much dope as black people. Women actually steal more than men, but men are still arrested at a higher rate because of the stereotypes. Nobody thinks a woman will steal. They're just outdated. It is clear that having this wall, them versus us, is not possible in a society that is land of the free, founded on its people. Having this us versus them mentality will force a breaking point eventually, and we need to take steps to diminish this, to make it, to continue to be a great country. Finally, I would just like to add, as a future policeman, I am passionate about helping people, saving people, making my community better. I'm not trying to be a cop because it looks fun, because I want to carry a gun around, or for the false egotistic power trips and the hubris of it. I want to be an officer to do the best I can and help as many people as I can.